Hello and welcome to the PopCULT channel with your hosts Tommy and Tyler.
PopCult is the place to go for all things popular culture, films, TV, gaming, and entertainment news. You'll find podcast discussions, reviews, video essays, and interviews with filmmakers all here on this channel.
It was everything it needed to be. I am super excited for season 3 now. I can see so many different routes they can take with the story, with the characters. And I also felt like certain subplots that felt a little bit uninteresting or unearned, like the Dylan subplot with his wife. It all came back for this because we have finally like an episode, I guess, where the main theme is like Ini versus Outie, which was something that the whole season and the whole show has been building up to. And specifically, I'm referring to the conversation between Ini Mark and Outie Mark. Even though we have other examples of this in the episode with Dylan reading the letter that is Outie wrote him. There's a lot of confrontation between Ini and Outie, and I thought that was what we were waiting for. We were waiting for this kind of interactions because that's what makes the show unique. And so far, we've only seen one of these two characters at a time. But now we have this amazing, probably my favorite scene in the whole season, which is the conversation between the two Marks, which, the editing kind of like at the beginning, we linger on him coming and going from the balcony as he records himself, asks questions and then answers them. And then all of a sudden we pick up the pace and it becomes this conversation, like Mark is talking to Mark. And the lighting and frame composition, I was in love. Like I wanted this whole sequence to go on for like 2 hours. I don't know, like it felt so interesting. Again, there are a few things that we can discuss that maybe could have been better. The marching band was a very weird and interesting choice to have, as well as the Kier animatronic kind of like conversation with Mr. Milchick. There's a bunch of stuff that it's weird in a good way and weird maybe in a little bit of a bad way. But overall, I loved it. I love everything about how they resolve the Cold Harbor thing, and then going down, confronting Mr. Drummond, how the Gwendolyn Christie comes into the picture again. I thought that was well done.
Yeah. Okay, well, so let's go. Obviously, yeah, opens with the conversation between Mark's Innie and Outie at the beginning. We're sort of learning that Mark's Innie has now sort of had this new lease on life, and he's not going to want to go through with this plan, it seems like. And then we get
Yeah.
the explanation of what Cold Harbor is from Miss Cobell, and that's
Yeah.
a big reveal of what the whole MDR project has all been about. Did you think that was where they were going to go with it? Did you think that's what they were doing?
I had my theories, and I still feel like we are missing a few information that like some of the information that will be given to us in later seasons. But I had my theories, and I feel like with the context of the last episode, we do get this overall kind of like theme for the whole show, like season 1 and season 2, which is grief. And I feel like Gemma kind of like represents in a lot of ways this theme of grief, the way Cold Harbor and the last test, to see if the severed individual can really forget about all of her pain, the grief and the pain of miscarriage, of losing a child. And it's a grief that Lumen is weaponizing, by trying to incite all these reactions in her through all of these fucked up scenarios. And then the final scenario is, okay, let's just pick apart the crib that you made for your baby who died, which is such an interesting is the wrong word. It's such a horrible thing, but like I don't know. I feel like grief is one of those antagonistic forces in the story, and it's the emotion that leads many characters, particularly our protagonist Mark, to surrender half of their life to a system, which like the system that promises 8 hours a day where they can feel nothing, fear nothing, be nothing. And I feel like showing this scene, like showing us Gemma doing this and feeling nothing, and then Mark bloodied and fucking roughed up, like walking in and be like, Gemma, come with me, and she doesn't recognize me. I don't know, like I feel like that's the show.
That sequence from once
Yeah.
Mark leaves the
The
dance
fucking dance
party.
party, you just can't stand it.
Once he leaves that dance party and goes down the exports hall, that whole sequence from there to the end is fantastic. He switches in and out of his innie
That was
and
so
outie,
good.
and we see Gemma switch to like 3 different characters. I thought the bit where he's taken Drummond down in the elevator and he switches and he accidentally shoots him in the neck.
That was one of my favorites moments too. And I thought of you while I was watching. I was like, oh, Tyler must have loved this bit.
It was very
Yeah,
good.
it was chef's kiss.
The way when they're kissing, going back up the elevator, and they switch back to Miss Casey, and he switches back to Innie. I thought that whole dynamic, like you said, that is what the show's all about.
They do all of the interactions between Innie and Outie, from the moment Mark gets Gemma in the cold harbor room to the moment they get to the stairs.
Yeah,
There's Outie Mark with Innie Gemma, I guess. Then Outie Mark with Outie Gemma. Then on the elevator is Innie and Innie again, and then it's Outie Gemma and Innie Mark. It's just insane, and it's the kind of, again, as I said in the beginning, the kind of dynamic that you create when you come up with a high concept like this. You've never seen anything like this. This sequence of events could only happen in Severance, and that's what makes this show.
yeah, and it's so seamless as well. The transition, and we all because
Yeah,
they've set it up so well. We all know exactly what's happening, and even you're
yeah,
anticipating the switch, and you're like, oh, how's this new personality going to react? That's where the show is doing its best work.
that's what the show is.
What would you give season 2?
It's an 8.5 for me. It's a little bit less polished than season 1, which is weird. They had so much time to polish it, but I feel like it's really good, and I hold out hope that they are going to resolve all my issues with following seasons.
I wonder how different my score would be if I did binge it.
Yeah,
I think
that's a big thing.
I think I would have enjoyed it so much more if I was binging it. And so yeah, I'd say the series 2 dropped down to like a 7 for me. Still has moments where we're reaching the heights of the show, like I said in episode 4, but it sort of balanced out with that latter half of the season for me. I will certainly be tuning in for season 3, but I'm not going to say I'm super excited about it.
I am super excited about it, and I'm sure you will be too when it drops and Rickon is revealed to be a goat.
Thanks for watching the PopCult channel.
Please like, follow, and subscribe to keep up with all of our video content.